Hello, I hope you are safe and well. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Mr. Hewitson and I am the Director of Learning for the lower school here at the St. John Henry Newman Catholic School. Now, when we first met at the Year 7 New Intake evening and your children took their first steps into our school community, we shared and read a poem with you all. It neatly sums up the message, purpose and theme running through this particular presentation too, that communication is at the heart of relationships and that those relationships are vital if your child's journey through the school is going to be successful. The final verse of that poem reads, "And each agreed they would have failed if each had worked alone, for behind the teacher stood the school, and behind the parent the home." Now, taking you back to that new intake evening seems appropriate to me in a number of ways, but primarily because we have had to adopt a kind of back to basics approach when working with Year 8 this year. Back to basics is quite a simple description for what we've had to adopt during these challenging times. But this academic year will certainly be about revisiting certain essential themes with them as we progress through the year. This is because I am very aware that they did not really finish their transition into the school. They would have learned a lot about themselves, for example, during the summer term, and they have missed out on that process of maturation. It is also the case that the relationship between you as parents and us as teachers would have grown in that time, and that has been interrupted too, so it is appropriate to revisit these themes tonight. In this presentation, we would like to share our vision for the year ahead with you. I would like to urge you to consider the message carefully and to repeat and reiterate them to your children in that careful, skillful and loving way that you all have as parents. In the year ahead, we're going to be working together, so please remember these themes when corresponding with us. We have a strong Catholic ethos centering on respect for God's creation. We want to cultivate positive attitudes and strong behaviour for learning, and we have high expectations regarding attendance and punctuality. All of these are being deliberately revisited by us as a team in order to ensure that your child's journey through the school can be as successful as possible, and actually so that your son or daughter does not simply pass through the school, but that the school also passes through them. It is my pleasure to have this introductory role in this video today. I'm delighted to be able to introduce Mr. Medina to you all as a learning coordinator for Year 8. Mr. Medina is already working incredibly hard to build strong relationships with the year group and so many of you too. He has some invaluable advice relating to what you can do to help your children develop habits for success. He also has some very important guidance regarding sensible use of social media. Now, I would like you to pay special attention to this section and to the posters and additional guidance that we have shared alongside this presentation. Social media has become a significant part of your son or daughter's childhood. I appreciate that it also very much feels like their domain, their arena, where they know, or at least think they know, so much more than all of us. Now, it's fast becoming recognised in school that with the vast majority of friendship issues that we deal with, poor and sometimes unsupervised use of social media is a significant factor. In many instances, the children do not have the skills yet to manage their online behaviour, and we want to work with you as prime educators in order to help them get this right. They are on the brink of full adolescence, and they are at a dangerous phase when it comes to social media use. This is the year group when, for example, we anticipate needing to work with children who have been involved in sexting and other inappropriate use of social media. They are at an age where their natural curiosity and immaturity could easily get the better of them, and it makes them incredibly vulnerable. That vulnerability, that danger, comes into their lives via a device that you almost certainly pay for. So please follow the advice Mr. Medina is going to share with you and reach out to us if you need support doing so. Mr. Medina will also share some very practical advice regarding being ready for a potential lockdown or distance learning scenario, and Mrs. Brown has also attached some guidance reintroducing you all to the Unifrog platform. Before I hand over to Mr. Medina, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you all to the Year 8 team. We have a combination of consistency, with some form tutors staying with their form groups from Year 7, and some new energy being injected by colleagues either new to the team and sometimes new to the school. Our contact details are here so that you can reach out to us and communicate with us when you need us. I would like to urge you all to establish a strong partnership with your child's form tutor and talk to them about any concerns that you have in the first instance. They are the person your son or daughter sees every day, and so they are very much the other sculptor in the studio with you, helping to guide and support your child. If needs be, Mr. Medina as learning coordinator, Ms. Drakford as assistant learning coordinator, and myself are all here for more serious concerns too. I will now wish you farewell and hand over to Mr. Medina for the rest of the presentation. God bless.
Good evening. I am Mr. Medina and I am the learning coordinator for Year 8. First of all, I would like to say that the pupils have made a fantastic start to the year in unprecedented circumstances. And it is a pleasure to meet them every day and to see the high levels of energy in every lesson. A very positive start. It is a pleasure to lead this year group. Lockdown prevented the year group from completing a whole academic experience in year 7. This means that they missed on a whole term when they normally make the transition to year 8, when they get opportunities to develop their social skills and to bond as a year group. For instance, they missed on the languages trips in the summer. They did not expend the expected amount of time with the teachers either, which could have an impact on their academic progress. Now, back in school for over a month, we are considering which areas of the academic side of the school, as well as the social skills, are or could prove difficult to get used to again in this return to normal school. I must say, though, that our pupils are trying really, really hard. Organization, effort and resilience, constant communications with teachers, a sound homework routine, and regular attendance to school, within reason given the circumstances, are key elements that both staff, parents, and pupils must work on to ensure a positive learning experience which leads to academic success. At school, a structured timetable and the support of teachers allow the pupils to focus on the learning. So, what can parents and pupils do at home in order to ensure they can reproduce a similar environment? It is important that the message sent by teachers at school is followed up by parents at home. A coordinated effort from staff and parents sends a very powerful message to our children. We care about their education and we're all moving in the same direction. At home, parents and children need to ensure that the homework is completed whenever possible in a space that allows the pupil to focus and to avoid distractions, to access the necessary resources, and to have the support of the parents when necessary. Research suggests that a good working space should be one that allows the parents to oversee the progress of their children and to help when needed. So some suggestions, for instance, are using the living room or kitchen table. However, these can be difficult to achieve in some households where there are other distractions in the room, for instance, the television or younger siblings. Teenagers tend to prefer their own bedroom, as we know, and if this is the place that is chosen to work, it is a good idea to suggest certain rules. So parents and children need to agree on a set of expectations when it comes to completing homework. This should be done beforehand. For instance, how long are the children going to work for? Are they going to be allowed to use phones during this time or to listen to music while doing work? It is also a great idea to agree on check-ins with the children so they don't feel that the parents are nagging them and then they could find that annoying. By agreeing this beforehand, the parents can set the tone and the routines, and the children know what to expect. It is really important for parents to try to keep up with their children's work. For instance, to try to check the topics that their children are learning, to check the newsletters sent by the head teacher, which have updates from every single department on which areas the year group are working on, to check Show My Homework and other platforms like Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, to contact the teachers in case of doubt or when they are in need of clarification. Show your child that you care and that you are there to support. Always show a positive attitude. With regards to organizational skills, it is important to make sure that the child is ready for the next school day the night before. This might sound a bit patronizing, but it is quite a recurrent issue. Make sure that the children pack the relevant homework, the correct exercise books for every day, as well as any other necessary equipment, for instance, maths equipment, PE kit, or food tech or art equipment. Social media has changed our lives in many ways. It allows us to communicate in different ways, and the amount of information available with just one click is immense. It has allowed us to find new ways of teaching as well as of learning, and it has allowed us to make possible that our community managed to stay in touch during lockdown. However, social media has also a negative side, and that is the availability of inappropriate content and language that our children can access unless we educate them and monitor the correct use of their devices. Screen addiction is a serious concern too. Teenagers nowadays spend on average around 7 hours a day looking at their phones on a weekday and up to 17 hours a day on a weekend. Screen addiction can cause sleep deprivation and a loss of interest in other areas, for instance, school. And it can also provoke a loss of confidence in oneself and acceptance issues. It is vital that we make our children aware of the age restrictions of the different apps. A good example is WhatsApp, which has an age restriction of 16 plus. And also about the risks of sharing information like location, full names, photos taken at home. Once we put up photos online, they don't belong to us anymore. Anyone can take a screenshot too. It is also important to bear in mind that many apps have what it's called in-app purchases, which could make the children spend money without even noticing. So what can parents do at home? Supervise your children when they download new apps. Make sure that these are age appropriate. Talk about the risks of the internet. For instance, have your children set up their apps to share just with friends? Have they disabled their location services? Shared photos or videos which could portray a negative image of themselves? Have they taken photos of someone else without permission and then shared those online? These are issues that should be discussed with your children at home. Certain apps allow parents to control what their children download and post online, and even who they message and when. This might sound a bit extreme, but it proves to be very effective. At home, try to agree a set amount of time where your children can use social media. This will prevent them from developing screen addiction. And at night, ask your child to turn their phones off and put them away. This would ensure a good sleep. Reports show that many teenagers spend hours on their phones while in bed, and that they actually go to sleep very late. This has a very negative impact on focus and effort during lessons. In case of a second lockdown, or in a scenario where the Year 8 group were sent home, it's really important that all pupils have access to the different school platforms. For instance, Show My Homework, their school email account, Microsoft Teams, Unifrog, Hegati Maths, and MyOn. Parents should be registered with Parent Mail too, as this is the main means of communication that Mr. Matthew and us, the learning coordinators, use to send messages to whole year groups. Our pupils and teachers completed the Microsoft Teams training very recently, and so they are ready to attend their lessons from home. I would like to finish my presentation tonight by sharing the school code of conduct with you. This was written by the JHN students for the JHN students, and as you can see, it's the set of rules and behavior expectations that all pupils of the school agreed to follow during their enrollment service in Year 7. Our return to school has been very positive overall. Year 8 are a lovely group of young people who are very keen on doing well at school. It's been an absolute pleasure to lead this year group so far. Our sense of community is strong, and we value and respect each other. However, the lack of interaction during lockdown means that the pupils missed the time to socialize with their peers face to face, and the fact that they have to spend all day within their bubbles can cause some frictions at times. It is important for pupils and parents to be aware of our code of conduct, which all Year 8 pupils were shown again during one of our Year 8 assemblies and also during form time with their tutors. I would like to encourage pupils and parents to support us in ensuring that the code of conduct is followed by contacting us if they know of anyone who might be upsetting other people. And you can do this by email, by phone, or by using the Sharp system, which you can find on our website. This message would go direct to Mr. Matthew. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions after this presentation, please do not hesitate to contact us. Good night.